Thank you for tuning in today. Welcome to Our World Shifted. If you haven't seen one of my videos before, thank you for clicking on it. This video, I really had to make it today. I felt like there's just something I just need to say, and it kind of started with, I've seen so much and I've learned so much about human relationships, human psychology, the way humans work, human to human interaction. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you probably know that. But I've been reading this book, been actually listening to the book while I'm here. I like to show where I am. How to Influence People and Win Friends. And it hit me. It really hit me because I've learned so much. I've watched actual like dating coaches too. There's some like really advanced ones, RSD, and they really give some serious information. It's like some of the tips like I kind of knew. Like I knew you gotta make people feel like you're interested in them, not that you got to make people feel like you want them to be interested in you. If you try to win somebody over in a real life situation, you want to be asking them questions, getting them to talk more. You want them to be investing more in you. You don't want to try to convince them to like you. You want to convince them that you like them. Get them talking and they'll feel like they like you and they had a good conversation with you. Like that's one of the ones that I kind of knew. That's kind of more, for me, it kind of seemed like one of the more basic ones. I shared it in case you needed that information, but there's some of them that I realized how I was still messing up on them, and I don't know how I was just so blinded to it. It was just like real blind spots. So like we have actual blind spots in us where we don't necessarily see what actions we're doing or the repercussions of that actions or what our habits have done to us. And it made me realize that like I still feel like I criticize people too much. That's one of the things. Like I criticize way too much and I judge way too much. In a sense where I'm like this guy, like this is me, I'm Our World Shifted, you know, I've learned a lot, I've studied a lot, and you know, when I try to tell my son what he should do, it's because I know for the repercussions of doing it the wrong way. And it may be something I've done the wrong way for years or my whole life, and I'm recently learning, like, you just don't do that, right? Like, let's be this way. But I realize I come from too much like a father, and I'm like sitting there trying to explain to him, this is not the right way. This is why it's wrong. This is the right way. This is why it's right. But then you kind of sit there and every single day you got to re-talk to him about something. It always, at some point when you try to do it every day, it feels like it comes back to the point where if you really analyze it and you really take in a broader sense, maybe you talk to him about 1,000 different things, but he's essentially doing the same thing. Maybe it's as simple as he's being lazy and he doesn't want to take action. He doesn't want to take care of himself. If you try to generalize it. Thank you guys for watching. So the book kind of explains, like one of the things that really hit me was how these parents actually got their kid to listen. They had I give you this quick example right now. There's 3 stories. Try to restate them as best as I can. There's one story of a girl who didn't want to eat food. So what the parents did, instead of the normal parenting, which they tried and it didn't work, and she still would every day, it'd be the same thing. They had to talk to her about it again. As for my example, it could really truly just be anything. I like you to apply this for wherever you are in your life. You could be using this, doesn't have to be your child, but just your person-to-person relationships. So they take the girl, right? And what they do is they get her involved in the process of making the food. She made cereal for them. She made cereal and milk. They got her involved in the process, and that day she actually ate extra food because she felt like a sense of pride in it. She felt like it was a good thing. She felt important because she did this. That's one of the biggest rules in the book right there. I got to just plug that in while it came up. The feeling of importance will drive humans to really do just about anything. And the book even says this is basically why we do anything. This is why I'm standing here holding this camera, shooting this video. This is why the person made the camera. This is why cities exist, because people wanted to do things. They wanted to feel important. They wanted to make a contribution. They wanted that feeling of importance and acceptance, of love. And the book basically explains, if you know how to use this to their advantage, you can get people to do what they want. This is sort of how they get the girl to do what they want, by making her feel like she's a good person or a better person, more prideful, more responsible, more of an adult. So anyway, enough about that. There's another story about a boy who he wouldn't stop wetting the bed. And now this story almost kind of like far-fetched to me just a little bit, because it's like, you're gonna get him to stop wetting the bed by talking to him though? In any means, even if he used the right technique, had me a little bit thrown off. It's like, because I would just think maybe that's just, you know, a problem he has with his body, or because he's a child and you just wait and you teach him to use the bathroom before he goes to bed. But they really got him to make sure he never wet the bed again. And what they did with this child, and the story is shared. The story here is shared for you to apply to yourself. This is a story from the book, and you got to take it, figure out how you can change how you interact with people, because this is honestly really life-changing. Know how to influence people. Before I even share this story, now I got to tell you that the book has shown, and it's been shown in real life, that people just look at where you work. You want to move up the corporate ladder? People who move up the corporate ladder are people who know how to influence people, how to make friends with people, how to get people to like them, and even really importantly for a manager, how to get people to do what they want them to do, and for them to want to do those things, not for them to just tell them and force them and then not get long-term results unless you keep telling them every single day and nagging them, but getting them to want to be a better worker. Or you know, you build better connections and the boss likes you, so he gives you a promotion and he lets you be closer to him because he'd rather have you there than the other employees that he probably doesn't even know by name. How to influence people, how to win friends. Great book, life-changing, life-changing, life-changing. So back to the story. Back to the story. So the boy, they want to get him to stop wetting the bed. So what they do is they kind of drive in him this sense, this feeling of he's being an adult, he's being like them, he's being a man. They drive this sense in him, and they drive this sense in him by getting him, first they gave him a set of pajamas, so he didn't have to dress like a little bedwetting boy. He was able to wear a pair of pajamas and he felt more like an adult. That was the first thing. But what really hit him is they took him to a store and they let him pick out the bed, even though they kind of suggested to the person who worked at the store that was helping the boy, they suggested which one to convince him into buying. But essentially they let him believe that he went to the store and he picked out the bed and it was his choice, and that he brought it. He believed that he literally paid for it. Like, he brought it. Like, that's just how you buy a bed. Like, he really believed he did it. And then so he comes home and he's dressed like a man. Like, he feels like one of the adults because he has pajamas instead of some clothes that they give him so for when he wets to bed. To probably, you know, some like adult diaper or something like that. He's some kind of diaper. Anyway, so he believes that. So there's a sense of pride involved with it. Now he feels like a man. Now he feels like one of them. Now he feels responsible. Then the father goes up to him. Well, first the boy goes up to the father and he's like, look at the bed I brought. And then the father goes to him, well, you're not gonna wet this one. You see, I feel like, God, like, just because I gave you that story, like, in the end, you could almost, like, feel that, I hope you can feel that sense of pride that was just instilled upon the boy, because now he feels like he's one of them, and now he wants to act like one of them, and that's really key. Trying to get people to want to do what you want to do with them. Now, that's not to sound, like, kind of dark, like you're trying to convince people to do bad things, but, you know, within a reasonable sense, you do want to be able to communicate with people well. You do want to be able to move up the corporate ladder, or you do want to be able to run your business well. Whatever it is you're trying to do, you're going to want to learn how to influence people. This is going to help you live a better life and a happier life and communicate with people more. Even your family relationships are going to get much better. Like, could you imagine right now if you're a family person, what it'd be like if you could communicate with your family well? And if anyone really knows what I mean by that, I really mean that a lot of people, even their communication with their own wife and their own kids, in their mind, they might think it's good, but they might have that sense, like down kind of in them, like somewhere inside of you, that you feel like maybe you could have a better relationship with them. Maybe you could come home and they look happy to see you. Maybe you could come home and they could run at you like a dog. I don't know about you, but I think it'd be nice if you came home and your wife was really excited to see you, so excited. She jumped up from where she was and she ran at you and she hugged you and kissed you. And then your kids, they jump up and they run, they hug you and kiss you. But how many people really have that? And it's like, maybe you don't need all that, but it'd be nice if we can have better relations with people. Like, forget, even too, like I say, you know, this is good if you want to move up the corporate ladder, or if you want to run your own business, then you have to know how to deal with employees and customers, and you want customers and to want to buy from you, you want employees to want to work for you. Or if you want to move up the corporate ladder, then you got to deal with people below you. You got to get them to want to work for you. You got to get the people above you to want to hire you. And even if it's still in a business sense, maybe you're dealing with customers on one level or another. That's how most companies make money. They're with some sort of customer, maybe selling some sort of product, and you can help the company make more money, and then they want to put more money in your pocket. But even all the money aside, there's a story of a man who was already rich, successful, like in the stock market, but he took the course. I don't exactly know why. I guess he realized subconsciously that his relationships with people weren't good, and he reported back to the man who actually wrote the book after taking his class. He didn't say anything about money, but he said his life was so much richer now that I gotta make sure I'm still recording. He said his life was so much richer now that he started applying these techniques, and now he actually has friends and he has good relationships, and people started to see. And the only thing he actually really applied was that he was gonna start smiling at people. He was gonna start smiling at everyone. He was gonna smile to his wife. His wife was just shocked. Think about that. Your wife is just shocked, like beyond shocked to see you smile at her. But think about it. How often do you smile at people? How often do you look happy to see people? Do you think that might actually make them happier to see you? Just you think about that. You decide how you feel about that one right there. I'm not even gonna tell you how to feel about it. I want you to think about that. So he just applies this. He starts smiling. He smiles. So many people say they never like even seen them smile, and they never seen him like that. You know, he's married. He's got kids. He's got his home. He's got money. He's essentially got everything you want out of life, but there was still something missing in his life, and this technique actually gave it to him. It gave him a real relationship and connection with people who he worked with. He became friends with them. They actually started to like him, and his family actually started to be happy to see him. He started to have a good relationship with his family. Whew. I'd like to give you a little bit more now on the influencing people, a little bit more advice, a little bit more information to apply, not just try to fluff it up and get you to be so interested in it that you actually want to try some of these things, which I honestly hope you do, because they're truly life-changing. And what's really life-changing about it? Honestly, if you take, it doesn't have to be this book, but if you get a good book, one that's really like inspiring and changing, and you just start applying some of those principles in there, you're really gonna have a different life. You're gonna be a changed person. Like, that's kind of inevitable. So on the investing in people part, on the getting people to be more interested in you by seeming like you're more interested in them, you really want to pay close attention, if you can, to sort of the idea of trying to even get in their mind. Now, not in a forced kind of sense, but more of just imagine what is it they really want and how can you give it to them. I'll give you a story, and I use the stories because honestly I feel like stories just really land a lesson, and it lets it hit more than just telling you it. Because if I just tell you it, that honestly the words may just go in your head, they'll just be knowledge, but you won't know how to apply it because you don't have a real world scenario of it being used. So there's a man, the actual author of the book, he tells of a story he actually had where he was gonna do a conference in a hotel. Shout out to the book. I'm here to promote the book. I don't want to sound like I'm stealing ideas, so if you want to read the book, that's on you. Just to sound like I'm not trying to just steal from the book. I am also promoting it at the same time, sharing what's helped me from it with you. So he has a conference in a hotel, right? And he finds out after the tickets have already been sold, after he's already got people coming to see him, paid customers coming to see him, so he can give his speech, give his lecture, teach his lessons, inspire people, try to change their lives. He gets a letter from the manager of the hotel that the rent for the place that he's booked has been tripled. Like, I can't even imagine that. It's so unrealistic. I wonder if this just happened so he can really like learn a lesson and apply these principles. So he finds out that the rent has been tripled and he's gonna have to pay 3 times as much after he's already sold the tickets. So, you know, the normal person, I'm even feeling like that anger coming up right now. Like, you want to go over there and be like, I've already booked the place, it's already set. You're gonna tell me last minute that the price is tripled? Like, you couldn't even do this ahead of time, or you couldn't just let me do my event and charge the next guy triple? So, but you know, that's still like the average person mentality. That's not what he did. What he did is he went to go see the manager, all right? And he thought about all these techniques, but the one he really focused on is, what does he want? What does the manager want? And when I flip, I make sure I'm recording. I want to make sure I get this video for you guys. So what does the manager want? He thinks about it. Obviously, he wants to make money. So he goes up to the manager and he's like, yeah, I try to be him. I'm not obviously him, but he goes up to him and he's like, yes, I understand you need to make money. That's your job, to make as much profit for the hotel as possible. And if you don't make a profit, you could get fired. Like, I understand that, right? So he's like, well, let's write down a list of the advantages and the disadvantages. This is I can't imagine actually doing it, but this is apparently what he did. Let's write down a list of the advantages and disadvantages of tripling the rent. So, I mean, obviously the natural advantages come, you know, you're gonna be able to make more money, you're gonna look better, you know, you could really go on and on about potential advantages that you're gonna get, you know, they're pretty obvious. Now what he does is, this is when he plants his seed though. This is right here is where he plants the seed inside the manager's skull to get him to do what he wants to do without even asking him. He goes into the disadvantages side, and now he writes that you're gonna lose, this is where he puts down that you're gonna lose the money though you would have made for me because I can't afford to pay triple the rent. So he just, like, after all that, it's almost like it just comes out like, without trying to force it, like it just comes out naturally, so it can really sink and land in the manager really well. And he's like, oh, I don't want to lose a profit, but he doesn't say that. He just plays along with what he would want. So he's like, so you're gonna lose the rent money for me, and then he says you're gonna lose money from people who would have stayed at your hotel from coming to see me. So he's like, now. He even said too that you can spend $5,000 on advertisement in newspapers and not draw as many customers as I'm drawing for this conference that I'm having. It's a sold out show. So he presents it like this, and he just kind of leaves them with that. He doesn't tell them what he wants. He doesn't tell them that he can't afford it. He doesn't well, I mean, you know, he explained it in the proper way, but he didn't make it a problem. He wasn't there to tell him his life stories and like explain his problems. He just kind of laid it out in a way to kind of appeal what the manager wants. And the next day he gets a letter, and I believe it says that he's gonna get his rent only raised by 50%. It could be, don't quote me on that. There's a possibility it was 15%. Now I believe the number he said was 50% versus being tripled, 300%. So without actually asking him, he played to what the man want. He played to what he want. If you in business or you're trying to sell to your customers, you play to what your customers want. Customers don't necessarily just want your product. If they had already intentionally want to buy it, maybe they'd already own one, and they would already be a customer if anything. So how do you play what they want? People want to fix their problems. People want to fix their life. They want to know how this product is going to help them. You could even take this video, for example. I've explained here. I'm trying to kind of now get into the part where I'm trying to give you actual lessons from the books, tools and tips that I found really hit me and that I hope you can apply in your life. But before I got too into that, because it even almost sounds a little bit more forced, a little more boring, I explained to you why this might be interesting to you. Do you see how I did that? I explained to you how your life could benefit from it. I tried to convince you that you wanted to watch this video, you wanted to sit here and stay this long. This is information you wanted to receive, and you, because you made it this long in the video, whoever you are, you received it. Thank you for watching. I feel like I could go on, but I feel like that's really just the most impactful lesson I can give you right now today, is that I made you want to watch this video. I made you want to take in these lessons. I sort of built up this eager anxiousness to receive some sort of information from me by expressing to you in the right way why it's beneficial for you. I try to play to your wants, to your needs. I'm probably gonna make another book on how to win friends, another book. Well, I'm probably gonna make another video on the great book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. But for today, thank you so much for watching. I really thank you guys. And I hope you guys have a better life because of this video and you're able to actually apply something that I've given you here and let that just grow it. See how that can change your life. Don't underthink it. Honestly, my life has really just been an accumulation. Sometimes people, they really get one tip. I've seen it where they really just get that one good tip. Like he talks about Abraham Lincoln. He's just got that one good tip about not putting people down, about bringing people up, not criticizing people. And he used to criticize people so much, but he learned one day really hard at almost gunpoint. They were gonna duel. He was gonna have a real duel. One of them was gonna die. Him and a man he criticized, and he learned to never criticize that man again that day. The duel ended up getting canceled at the last moment. But he learned to never criticize, and he took that one good tip. Sometimes people learn one really good tip, right? I'm trying to explain to you how to change your life if you just give me this last minute. And he's like, sometimes I see it a lot where people just get that one good tip and they apply it and they learn it and they actualize it and they make it their life. And that's all they need. That might be all you need, is to take that one tip that you find, start applying it. It might just give you a chain reaction. Your whole life is different. For me, getting to this point, being able to make so many videos and give so much information, I feel like I've had to change so much. It's like it's just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tips and sticking points that I've really just taken and I applied and I learned from them, and it's helped me done everything that I've done. And I'm not here trying to brag. I'm not even here saying I'm like, I feel myself being the richest, most successful, being rich and successful. Like in the most, I'm obviously not the most richest and successful person in the world, but I can honestly say my life is so much better and it's filled with so much more abundance since I started applying little tips like the one I've given you in this video. And I don't know if you're gonna be that guy who just gets one tip and instead of a chain reaction. You probably are gonna be that guy. In a sense, I'm that guy. But I'm hoping too that you're able to keep watching, keep learning more tips, and just keep applying them to yourself. See how much of your life you can really change by just applying one simple little lesson per day. Every day you could pick a different lesson, or you could pick a different lesson each week and try to really embody them into your soul. But I just hope you do, because it's how you change your life. It's how you make a better life, by trying to build the habits of the person who you would want to become. Thank you for watching. Leave it at that. I'll hopefully make another video on the book after I pick up some more tips that I just really want to share with you. And I hope you guys have a better life from this video.